Welcome to Hot Take Nation. I'm your host, Pete Currier. Our goal is to give you the freshest, most blistering hot takes on a variety of sports and topics. Today, in the hot seats, we are lucky enough to have two members of The Rush, a sports talk show on Westfield State's own WSKB 89.5 FM. To my left, we have Anthony Swenson, host of The Rush and broadcaster for Westfield Athletics. Over on my right, we have Connor Norton, a senior, standout intramural athlete, and a co-host on The Rush. Welcome to the program, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
You're welcome. College football's Final Four playoff is set, but that does not mean that there isn't any controversy surrounding the picks. So, did the committee get it right, and who will be our national champion? Take it away, guys. Anthony, why don't you go first?
I'm going to say Clemson. Deshaun Watson, and you just have an unbelievable talent on the defensive side of the ball. You can't stop them, defensive side, like I said, because they send the pressure. They've always done that, and they've been there before. It's back-to-back years, them being in the playoffs. Yes, Alabama's in there, but at one point, who's going to stop Alabama and Nick Saban? And I'm going to say it's going to be the Clemson. Absolutely, the Tigers can go in there and beat Alabama because of the fact that they do not send pressure in Alabama's defense nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, they score a lot. Clemson does score a lot of points. I just think Alabama's defense will have just too much power over the Clemson offense. And, you know, the Alabama defense, Hurts only has 22 touchdowns. He has 9 picks. He's their offense. You know, their wide receiver, their top wide receiver only has 8 touchdowns. He has more rushing. Hurts has more rushing touchdowns than their second guy with 12. So he is their main offense. If they can shut down Hurts, I think they have a chance, but I don't think they will. I think Alabama's defense will have too much. I think Alabama will win.
See, we talk about this on WSKB all the time. You don't like Ohio State.
I don't.
You do not. You like Alabama a little bit. You're a Nick Saban guy. But at one point, why do you say Nick Saban over saying Ohio State?
I think, like I said, I think a Nick Saban could be someone as like a Bill Belichick.
How can you say
for
he's
college football?
No, you can't say he's
not to the same degree.
No,
not
but
to the
still,
same
you
degree.
still mentioned Bill Belichick, a Hall of Fame coach in the NFL, and talking about Nick Saban, who couldn't make it with Miami at one point.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it with any team.
Different. Completely different.
Completely different. Yes, he does good on the college level, but college level is different. Recruitment's much different. He can recruit anybody he wants, and he can control everybody. But that's on a different topic. The one thing you got to look at also, I think the committee got it wrong. We've talked about this also. Mm-hmm. Washington's in.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be in. They're not a powerhouse team. You got Michigan and Penn State. Penn State won the Big Ten. And at one point, you cannot say that Washington deserved to get in. They've lost to Pitt. They've lost to different teams. They've been sorry teams throughout the season.
Washington lost to USC.
USC, I'm sorry.
But I still think that, and at that point, it might have been a bad loss because USC was not as powerful as they were now. They went 8 straight at the end of the season. But I still think Washington should be in. They won the Pac-12. I personally think that Penn State had a very decent chance to get in as well. I think beating Ohio State, who's in the top 4, and the teams like Wisconsin and Iowa who beat Michigan, I think that they had a say. But I believe that they got it right with Washington.
Is Urban Meyer a better coach than Nick Saban?
No.
How can you not say that?
Because if you think of how many years they have been.
Urban Meyer
Think of Alabama football.
But Urban Meyer took 5 years off. He did. He took a long period off. And at one point, you got to say, Urban Meyer is one of those coaches that can make greatness out of somebody. Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Likes of him, Heisman winners. How many Heisman winners does Alabama has in their front hold? Haven't had many throughout the years. There's only been a couple big names from Alabama become Heisman winners because, yes, it's a team mentality. But at one point, what is college all about for most of these players? Going into the next level. And that's why I think with either, in my decision, it's going to be either Clemson or Ohio State. I'm going to say Clemson's going to win and is going to barely beat Ohio State because their defense is suspect this year. And I think it's going to be Alabama, Clemson, and Clemson's going to walk away with it with Deshaun. Just unbelievable talent on both sides.
Now, the other thing why I say Alabama is I think that Clemson-Ohio State game is going to be a close battle. And I think right after that, they're going to have to play Alabama. That's 2. If they win, that are 2 tough opponents to play back-to-back.
But let's say this. Washington is a college football team. They have a chance.
And they put up a lot of points. I know they're in the Pac-12, but they beat Colorado 44-10, 41-10 the other day in their conference championship. That means something. That has to mean
You also have to look at Deshaun Watson. Heisman's favorite for the past 2 years. Didn't win it this year. Probably going into the draft. He is one of those guys who can make a difference. we were talking about this before the show. He is the only difference maker on the field in all 2 games.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, he's the only big name. He's the only big name. Tell me another big name in this playoff that's going to be a first-round pick at the skill position.
We're running out of time in this segment, so I'm going to have to cut you off, unfortunately. So the bottom line is we are going to find out on January 9th who is going to be the champion for this season. Baseball's hot stove is heating up. The Red Sox won the Chris Sale sweepstakes, and the Cubs got outbid by the Yankees for Aroldis Chapman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Spring training is still far away, but the question is who won the offseason and who's your pick to win it all next year? We started with you, Anthony, so we're going to go to you, Connor.
All right, well, I think definitely the Red Sox are the favorite. They're my favorite to win. They now have the best rotation, I would say, in baseball. You can't deny Price, Sale, and Porcello, your top 3. That's tough to beat going in for a 3-game series every weekend. I mean, this lineup has been the same, and I personally think the Cubs have actually decreased a little bit with the loss of Chapman. I think Chapman added something to that team, closed down the back end. So if the Cubs could score runs, the back end closed it down. They picked up Wade Davis, but I think that Chapman caused them to drop a little bit. I think the Red Sox will take
All
it.
right, I'm not going to go to the Red Sox right now. I got a little prediction for the Red Sox. But one point, you got to look at the Mets. They're still the Mets. They still have a very young and good pitching staff. You got Syndergaard. You got all those guys there. They got a deep bullpen. They just re-signed Cespedes, and they don't re-sign most of their talent because they have the money to spend. Going back to the Sox, that's
one thing to say to that, they got to stay healthy.
They do.
Their pitching staff has not been healthy the past 3 years, fully.
But their
bullpen, yes, but their pitching staff, I feel like, needs to be, because they don't score many runs, the Mets. The past couple of years, they have not been scoring, and the pitching staff has helped that.
But at one point, you got to say, if you are the Mets, you have Cespedes, one of the best outfielders in the league. He can throw down, he can hit, he can do anything. He's a 5-tool player.
Yeah.
He's a typical 5-tool player.
It was a big pickup for them to re-sign him. I think that was a great pickup.
But you got to say, and I said, you said about the Cubs are still a favorite. You can't say anything about it. Their biggest loss is not a big free agent. It's not Chapman. It's Ross. Ross retiring. That's the biggest loss they have.
And their field is still, the Cubs' field is still very good. They're a very good defense. So
over to the Sox. They won the Sale. They got Chris Sale over to the Boston Red Sox. They've been trying to do this for years now. Before he re-up, he does have 3 years with the Red Sox. He was upset with the White Sox because of the fact that they weren't re-upping him. He's a little bit of a mental case. Yeah. He is. There's a lot of stories of him cutting up old jerseys because he didn't want to wear them. A little bit of a crazy. That's nothing new to Boston. There's been plenty of crazy players here in Boston. The one point you got to say about the Red Sox rotation, it's the best in the league. One of the best outfields in the league. Middle infield is suspect. I got to tell you that. Pablo Sandoval, let's hope not another belt explodes. You know what I mean?
See, I do not want to see Pablo on the field at all.
I want him.
I don't. Why do you want him?
Because he's lost weight. He's a good clutch.
So what?
He's a clutch hitter.
He took a year off.
It doesn't matter. He is a clutch hitter.
He took a year off.
He maybe
First
took a year off.
97 mile per hour fastball that goes by him. I'm going to text you and I'm going to say.
Absolutely. And when it's over left field, I'm going to tell you this right now.
6 times all season? Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, and then when it hits the postseason, I have 10 home runs in one series.
Okay.
That's what happened.
You think? See,
absolutely.
More than his bat, I don't trust his glove. I do not trust his glove.
You know who else I trust? Mike Napoli, who might be coming back to the ball club. First baseman, playing first base. He is a Gold Glove caliber player. He can play at that level.
I would rather Moreland, who they picked up.
Absolutely. They're not going to go offer Encarnacion that big of a contract that they want to offer him. They can't. But back to the pitching rotation, I'm going to have Sale at the 3 spot, Porcello and Price. You want to give Porcello opening day. He did win the Cy Young.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a little controversy with him and Verlander, but he did win it.
Yes.
The other thing you'll look at with that pitching staff, pitching wins World Series nowadays.
Wins, always.
So my prediction for this year, without a game getting played, without the trucks getting loaded, going to spring training, I'm going to say it right into the camera right now, 100 games win and a World Series ring on top of it because of all of that.
You're crazy for half of it. I think you're crazy for half of it because 100 wins is a lot of wins. 160, you know what I mean? You go 162. That's a good record. They had 93 wins last season. I think they'll stay around there.
Is this a better team? Is this a better team?
Yes.
Then why can't they get more wins?
Because I think it's throughout the season. Injuries pile up. People don't. We thought the same thing about them last year.
All right, I'm going to have to cut you guys off.
But you don't have Buckles as your 3.
Yes, I know, but we thought David Price was going to save the day, and he didn't. That could happen. Things like that could happen.
I'm going to have to cut you guys off right here, so it wouldn't be an Anthony Swenson Sports Show unless I leave with ringing my ears. With the NFL regular season winding down, it's time to think about who's going to take home the Lombardi Trophy. Will it be one of the regular season powerhouses, or will a wild card sleeper turn the playoffs upside down? So, Anthony, I guess we're going to start with you again this time.
So we're going to start this segment with saying our fanhoods. I'm a diehard New England Patriots fan. He's a diehard Packers fan. So we have two different point of views, AFC, NFC. So I'm going to look at it first as the Patriots' perspective. They just won. They're 11-2 right now. You got to look at the fact that, and I know he's going to go off when I said this, they need to scare somebody, scare Gostkowski a little bit with the kicking game. The kicking game is one of those things that the Patriots have been suspect on. So then going to the special teams as a whole, Cyrus Jones has to pack his bags and leave.
He had no business having his foot anywhere near that ball.
He has no business
That ball
being
bounced for 10 yards before he was anywhere
He
near
has no business being close to Gillette Stadium.
No.
Go back to Alabama.
Well,
Go back to
he
Alabama.
did get beat on a couple long pass plays as
Throughout
well.
the season.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just last night to add on to.
Add on to everything.
Yeah.
So going on to that, the Dallas Cowboys. Unbelievable year. Dak Prescott, Zeke, one of the best stories I've seen in a long time with rookies coming in and being successful. They might ruin their own MVP hopes. If Zach was on another team and Dak Prescott was on another team, they would be making MVP honors or Rookie of the Year honors.
And you have to praise that offensive line.
Absolutely.
Ezekiel Elliott has almost 1,500 rushing yards.
I think the one guy you got to look at
is incredible.
is Doug Freak. One of the best right guards in the league.
Yeah.
And he's one of the guys that you have to give ups to.
And it's crazy to me that people are actually talking about, do you put Romo in for the playoffs? Like, why would you even put Romo in the conversation? He had no say of what happened all this season. There is no way that he should touch the field over Dak, who has played well all season. Just because they lost 2 games.
If he loses another game, Romo starts, and I'd back that. Because he does have the veteran leadership. Yes, he chokes in big situations.
But does that happen on normal teams?
What?
Would that happen? Say the Packers were in the playoffs.
There's a difference between...
Say the Packers were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they declined last 3 or 4 games. They go 3-4.
But
did they take out Aaron Rodgers?
But there's a difference
that
between...
doesn't happen.
There's a difference between Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott.
But not this year.
There is a difference.
Why? Because the experience.
You take Hundley. You take Hundley as a quarterback.
No, well, obviously not.
Okay, thank you.
But I wouldn't take Romo either.
Would you take Romo as a backup?
Over Hundley, yes, but not in
Dak
general,
throws
no.
3 interceptions in one game. Would you sit him for Romo?
No.
That's
3 interceptions in one
asinine,
game?
man.
That happens.
No.
That happens.
Okay, so
all the time.
Let's talk about a team that has gone down in the power rankings. Is the Seattle Seahawks. 5 interceptions for Russell Wilson.
All not his fault. All not his fault.
3 of them not his fault. 2 were.
2, yeah.
2 and 3 of them bounced off his receiver's chest. One thing I gotta say, you were all high and mighty because the Green Bay Packers beat them. Yes, great win for you.
High and mighty.
No,
You
let me
didn't
finish.
beat
I'm
them.
talking.
The Patriots did not
Let me
beat
finish.
them. Okay.
Well, one thing you gotta look at too is with that secondary for Seattle, no Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is, I think, the figurehead. Yes, Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman, but they're only sending 4.
Yeah.
They're only sending 4 all game long after Rodgers, and Rodgers tore them up.
Yeah. And, I think we ran pretty decent. Montgomery had some good runs. Starks ran a little bit. I think that helped as well, but Seattle did not have their best offensive game. A couple of those picks were obviously Russell Wilson's fault, and I think Rollins, that pick in the front of the end zone, he came out of nowhere. So the defense all of a sudden steps up. That's what the Packers needed. In my opinion, the defense needed to step up, and they did.
Week 15 is coming up.
Yeah.
Dallas at Buccaneers.
I know who you got. I'm
going to go with, and this is like the question was asked, who's going to ruin it for another team? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Famous is going to have an unbelievable postseason going off of a great ride that he's had. You got to look at the fact that with Jameis and Mike Evans, everybody doesn't look at Mike Evans. Mike Evans probably one of the best receivers in the league
he's on
right
my
now.
fantasy team.
Exactly. He's one of the best receivers. They're going to go in and beat Dallas on Sunday Night Football. I'm telling you that right now, and then make a big run in the playoffs, and even make it to the NFC Championship game.
Now, did you watch this week?
Yes.
Scary.
Scary.
You gotta
Absolutely.
say, against the New Orleans Saints defense.
But that defense for Tampa Bay is top notch.
No, yeah, they get to the quarterback. They do. But I don't know. I see the Cowboys winning that game.
I do not. Because
It's a close game, yes, because Tampa Bay's been playing very well the past couple
Des
of
Bryant
weeks.
isn't Des Bryant anymore. I'm going to say that right now. He hasn't shown me. He shows me glimpses of Des Bryant going for those 50-yard touchdown bombs. One thing, I don't think Dak's that accurate deep down the field. Williams, he doesn't. He was good at the beginning of the season. Witten's still doing his thing.
Still, yeah.
But that's on intermediate routes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you have to go deep?
See, and my thing to that, and the beginning of the season, it was Cole Beasley. And I think Cole Beasley He's like an Edelman type. I'm not saying he's as good as Edelman, but he's like an Edelman type. He'll come across the middle. I think he could have some big plays against Tampa
Absolutely.
as
The
well.
one thing the Patriots, I'm going to go back to the AFC and to the Patriots and Raiders. The Raiders are a great story with the Chiefs. We haven't talked about the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat the Raiders this week. A big game for them. The one thing you got to look at is if the Raiders play, say, a New England type or play Kansas City again, they're going to not even Kansas City. I would say, I think just New England could really burn that secondary.
Now, it's crazy to think about. If you think about teams like that, home field advantage is going to be very important.
Absolutely.
Because those teams win at home.
All right. I know you guys have both.
Let me finish here.
Okay,
right
Anthony.
here.
Okay.
But with the Ravens, too, you had them go into Gillette and have a tough game with the New England Patriots. It was a back-and-forth game for a little while, and then the Patriots blew them out, and then they came back with the special teams error. But if they go against the Raiders, that's the one thing you got to look at. Joe Flacco can throw the ball around the field. So that's going to be one thing to look at for the Raiders. I think the Ravens on the AFC side can ruin everything. And also on the NFC side, I'm saying Tampa Bay is going to make a big run.
I agree with Tampa Bay as well.
All right, so you can really see why we had these two in the show today. If you want to hear more, don't forget to check out The Rush on 89.5 FM WSKB for even more sports talk every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. Thank you for joining us on Hot Take Nation. We'll see you next time.